Hello and welcome back to Transfer Review, a very special one on transfer deadline day. So we've got lots of moves, Macubs, to digest, to see, because these could be potentially happening.
They could be happening right
in the hours
now
that this video goes live,
yeah,
exactly.
They could be. To warn you guys, obviously, this was actually filmed on a Wednesday evening. So, you know, forgive us if we're not, you know, completely on the ball here, but we will take that into consideration as we're going through these transfer rumours that could be developing as we speak. It could be done deals even by the time this goes out. So bear with us. The first one, Yannick Carrasco to Arsenal / AC Milan actually, because we've had, you know, very recent developments just told to us about
from DiMarzio, I think.
Yeah, DiMarzio, but we'll get onto him in a second. But first of all, Arsenal obviously been linked with Yannick Carrasco a lot this month. It's got a little bit quiet recently because the Gunners were trying to negotiate with Inter Milan for a possible move for Ivan Perisic. But those talks seem to have broken down. I can't see Perisic ever leaving the Nerazzurri, to be honest, because any move that does come into him, they just seem to demand far too much for a man of his age and stature. So yeah, Carrasco back on the cards. Apparently, obviously he's 4 years Perisic's junior, probably a better option in general for Unai Emery, or whether he's a good option for Arsenal in general remains to be seen. We'll get onto that in a bit. But like I said, AC Milan have apparently reignited their interest in the ex-Atleti player, and the Chinese club are in talks with both clubs. Dalian Yifang, I believe is his Chinese club. And it's no surprise that Carrasco wants to move back to Europe in general, because his move to Dalian Yifang, which happened last February, hasn't exactly been electric for a player of his calibre in a league like the CSL. He's appeared 25 times in the league, scored 5 and assisted 7, playing mainly as an attacking midfielder on the left. That's kind of where he's used to. But when you compare it to his former Atleti, it's not really much better. If anything, it's actually worse. He spent obviously 2.5 years in Madrid, and his 16-17 campaign was probably the most notable, where he made 35 appearances, scored 10 and assisted 4. Obviously the season before as well, he scored in the Champions League final. So yeah, he was really, you know, for a player of his age, quite sought after in Europe at the time, wasn't he? And has, you know, been pretty decent when kind of in the Belgium colours as well. But Doogie, what if he were to move to Arsenal? What kind of deal would Arsenal be getting, and how do you think he'd fare at the Emirates?
Yeah, so the crucial thing is this is a loan deal until the end of the season, with Arsenal having an option to buy him for £18 million this summer. And Unai Emery, after their game against Cardiff on Monday night, made clear that wingers was the area they were looking for. And you can sort of see why, because obviously Iwobi, Ozil, Mkhitaryan, Ramsey, they're all, you know, naturally, you know, more suited to the central. Sure. And Lacazette and Aubameyang prefer playing centrally too. So wingers, you can see if they got an out-and-out quality winger, it could make all the difference to them. But there still could be plenty of complications in this deal. The Telegraph are reporting that the CPL club offered Arsenal the winger earlier in the window, but issues with his wages meant the Gunners rejected the player. So I don't know whether this is suddenly a bit of a panic buy. They've gone to the last few hours of the window and they're going to have to pay over the odds for a player. It's an interesting signing for Arsenal. I'd say they have bigger issues in other areas. For sure. I mean, we've seen their, you know, defensive issues at times this year. They've had a lot of injury woes as well. Rob Holding, Bellerin, Socrates has all spent, you know, time out on the sidelines. Koscielny's only recently come back. So you'd think that they'd really target central defenders. And Lichtsteiner's transfer hasn't really worked out as planned either. And they've also been linked with Denis Suarez. So
that could have been done.
That could well be done by the time this video is done. It hasn't quite been finished now. So it looks like Carrasco will play on the left, Denis Suarez on the right, Xhaka and Torreira in the centre, and they'll switch to a more sort of standard 4-4-2 compared to the variations we've seen with a 3-man defence and wing backs at times this year. So it'll be a bit of a style shift.
Yeah, a little bit messy, I feel, like that lineup, wouldn't it? I mean, it could work.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's a lot of change mid-year, and you know, they're still, you know, they haven't played great since the turn of the year, but they're still in the hunt for the Champions League places, so they really need to keep that consistency going. But the main question is, if they do play 4-4-2, where does Ozil fit in? Is there room for Lacazette and Aubameyang, or will they play Ozil more as a 10? Ozil's situation just seems incredibly, you know, more and more baffling as time goes on. He seems to be the forgotten man of Arsenal, and if I was them, I'd have probably tried to sell him this window, if they're not planning on using him, and reinvest those wages to get a top class player in. Carrasco seems like a bit of a panic buy. Denis Suarez not the player they need. And what I'm so baffled by, where are Arsenal's finances? Why can they only do loan deals? I know they missed out on a couple of years of Champions League football, but they've got this enormous stadium. They've been in there since 2006. I mean, there's no excuse there anymore. It just seems a bit baffling. So we're not totally convinced on this deal, but Arsenal fans, we want to hear from you. Would you guys be pleased with Carrasco, Denis Suarez? What are you making of the whole situation? Let us know in the comments down below.
The next transfer rumour we're looking at is Andreas Christensen. Yeah, remember him. So Juve or Dortmund. Interesting. But first of all, Doogie, what's happening later on Football Daily?
Well, we've got a very, very special live stream with Joe Cole, a transfer deadline day special from 8 till 11, I believe. I think it'll be Hamill, Joe, myself, Zach, and Joe Cole. Cannot wait to get stuck into, you know, the career of the Chelsea legend. He's been at Liverpool. He's got 50-odd caps for England. It should be fascinating.
Yeah. Ask him all about that goal against Sweden.
Oh, no, oh my God, that goal. I think that's my favourite England goal of all time.
Yeah, it's up there for me.
It's definitely got to be right up there. But yeah, back to Andreas Christensen and his possible move. Because he could be set for a last-minute loan deal to take him out of West London after making just one Premier League appearance this season. Obviously, under Antonio Conte last year, he played exceptionally well. He established himself in the first team, made 27 appearances in the league alone. But his career since Sarri has got completely regressed. Tensions between the centre-back and his manager also rose after Christensen left the bench early during their loss to Arsenal and supposedly went to the toilet and never came back, which isn't great at all when you're trying to win over your new manager. Sarri clearly preferring David Luiz and Antonio Rudiger, who've probably been the highlight of their season so far, except for the form of Hazard. They've been exceptional at the back, and opportunities have been pretty limited. The Blues are looking for a £6 million loan fee for them, and it's Borussia Dortmund and Juventus that have both registered interest. They're leading the race at the moment. They're looking for basically defensive backup for the rest of the season. The old lady basically let go of Benatia. He's gone off to Qatar to earn millions and sit on the beach. Disappointing move for him. I think he should definitely have stayed in Europe. They brought in Martin Cáceres, who used to play for Barcelona and Juventus, and actually spent a year on loan at Southampton as well, as sort of cover, but they're looking for more experience there. And Borussia Dortmund are looking to just provide more backup to what's been a fantastic start to the year from them. I believe it's their record start in La Liga. In the Bundesliga, still winning by 6 points at the moment. So they're looking for a bit of backup. But McCubbs, if you were Christensen and you had these two opportunities, where would you choose?
Well, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because he's obviously leaving to get first team minutes. It is a shame how things have gone for him at Chelsea. Conte was a big fan of him, wasn't he?
Definitely.
Really saw him as the kind of future of that back line, and yeah, it's just a shame. He was so strong last season. But anyway, it's difficult to know whether he would actually get them in at either club. Obviously, Dortmund have a wealth of kind of young, exciting centre backs, and Juve obviously still have a very kind of long-established back line. Maybe in the long term, Juve may be a better option. Obviously, maybe he could be kind of him and Regani, maybe. Form a centre-back partnership
for
them.
Regani still hasn't had a lot of minutes either.
That's true. It would be very much kind of waiting around. Yeah, and this is a Juve side which have only conceded 12 times in Serie A this season. So it's kind of one of those things.
Great
it's like,
record.
do you you don't really fix something that ain't broke, do you? And yeah, it would very much be a transfer for the future. And at Christensen's age, that's not really what he's after at this point, is it? Like, he needs first team minutes. As for Dortmund, also pretty decent at the back this season, only letting 19 goals. That is the third best defensive record in the division after Leipzig and Mönchengladbach, which is obviously where Christensen was on loan before. But they do lack a bit of squad depth. Obviously, this title charge, I feel, has been a bit unexpected, even when you take into account the performances of the likes of Sancho and Royce. And obviously, they've got a Champions League campaign as well, which is still there at the moment.
Big old
so
Spurs.
they do need strength in numbers for sure. And at the moment, this lack of depth is very evident. Julian Weigl, who's been linked with a move away himself, he's obviously been having to make up the numbers at centre back as well. A little bit worrying because they do have three fantastic young centre halves there, don't they, Dortmund? So yeah, clearly they need someone to patch things up when people are unfit. Christensen, I think, probably could slot into that starting lineup. He's definitely got the quality to. Whether Favre would want to mess with his kind of formula at the moment, long term, remains to be seen. But one thing is for sure, he does need to get out of Chelsea
100%.
pretty quick if he wants to get minutes. Because Sarri, I don't see Sarri going anywhere quite yet. Obviously not been in great form recently, have they, Chelsea? But I feel like Abramovich will probably stick by him for a bit at least. But what do you guys think? Do you think Christensen should go to Juve, Dortmund or somewhere else? Or should he stay at Chelsea and somehow try and find a way back in? Seems unlikely. Let us know in the comments below, as always.
Okay, we take a trip north from London to Liverpool for our next rumour, because it's Idrissa Gueye to maybe PSG or Man City.
Ooh, interesting. Yes, obviously we have spoken a little bit about Gueye to PSG before, and this talk still seems to be on the go. It actually seemed like we were talking about Weigl just before. That was the other player who PSG were linked with, weren't they? In this ongoing Rabiot saga. He's obviously still not playing for Les Parisiens, still ousted from the side by the powers that be. Yeah, he is. But anyway, back to Gueye. Obviously, Everton have already rejected one bid of £22 million from the Ligue 1 outfit for Gueye. He was left out of the Toffee squad on Tuesday night when they went to Huddersfield, because they're expecting apparently to receive a second bid for the Senegalese international. So that could be something that could be, you know, way further developed by the time this video goes out. And while Marco Silva himself actually claimed that Gueye was out due to injury concerns, a groin injury apparently, his absence does confirm suspicions that he is on his way out of Merseyside.
Indeed it does.
So yeah, I'd be sad to see him leave the Premier League. I think he's obviously a very important player to Everton, isn't he? According to Sky Sports News, the 29-year-old handed in a transfer request earlier this week. There have been a lot of reports suggesting that he is keen on a move to Paris. You know, and you know, kind of can't blame him. That would be a big move for a 29-year-old. You know, probably his last chance at getting a big move. As much of a great time he's had at Everton. But
Trophies
the Toffees have, yeah, that's very true. You want a bit of silverware, don't you? In your cabinet.
But tell the grandkids about.
Exactly. You know, there's nothing worse than, you know, having had a whole career in professional football and have no trophies.
Exactly, just ask any Spurs player.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, Everton have claimed that he's not actually put in a transfer request. Surprise, surprise. And they'll only be letting him go for £40 million, which is quite a step up. But for a player of his importance, I'm not surprised that they're playing hardball with PSG, because I think he's far more important to them than he would be to Les Parisiens. And also, you know, do PSG really need him at this moment in time? We spoke about Rabiot just before. It doesn't really look like he's going anywhere, although again, due to, you know, transfer deadline day, the kind of things that happen, maybe something could have happened, but it seems very unlikely that Rabiot will be going anywhere before the summer. So, do they actually need Gueye at this moment in time? And would they spend 40 million on him? I very much doubt that. But Doogie, kind of rather more interestingly, I feel, Manchester City seems to be expressing an interest as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think this whole rumour for both clubs actually comes from the fact that Man City and PSG lost out on Frankie de Jong to Barcelona. I think that he was very much their first choice. So Idrissa Gueye is seen as an able backup, and I think he is the best player outside a top 6 club in my opinion. And would be a good fit at any top club. And I'd like to see him move, similar to you. That's nothing against Everton, but you know, all good things must come to an end. And Sky Sports are also claiming that Man City have also registered an interest, as I said. We were sort of, you know, Fernandinho, unbelievable this season. I think he's in the running for Player of the Year in my book, but you know, he's 33 and it can't go on forever. I think he's probably got another year of top level football. But it'd be great if they got his long-term replacement in this summer, if they can't do it in this January window. He's been absolutely vital for them for at least, you know, his whole City career, at least since he's gone to a holding position. Last year, he made 33 starts, 90% pass accuracy, 3 tackles per 90, 1.4 interceptions, and was dispossessed just 0.6 times per 90. So good. This year, 22 starts, 88 pass accuracy, 2.6 tackles per 90, 1.5 interceptions, dispossessed just 0.4 times per 90. So his stats aren't getting any worse. He obviously made that mistake on Monday night when he was caught out with the ball and fouled Longstaff for that Newcastle goal. which wasn't great, but that's, every top player has aberrations throughout a year, and you can't hold that against Fernandinho. And it's certainly not a sign of failing body or mind. He just should have got a call from one of his teammates to hoof it clear. Compared to Idrissa Gueye, though, there's obviously a slight drawback in quality, but Idrissa Gueye obviously has the disadvantage of playing for Everton, who are pushing for top 8 rather than the champions. So Gueye's season looks like this. He's made 19 starts, he's got 84% pass accuracy, 4.2 tackles per 90, 2.4 interceptions, so 6.6 tackles and interceptions per 90, and only dispossessed 0.8 times per 90, which would be my my one complaint, or not my one worry about this move to Man City is he good enough on the ball? Because his defensive work is outstanding and has been since he got there. But moving to a Pep Guardiola system is pretty demanding. And would he be an out-and-out improvement on Gundogan? I'm not so sure at the moment, but it'd be interesting. But for me, if I was him, I'd go to Man City if it's actually firm interest. I think PSG, they're in for a difficult summer. I think if they don't win the Champions League, some of their key players will leave. I don't think we're going to see the same squad as next year. The pressure in Paris is an absolute melting pot. Man City, I think he won't be expected to instantly replace Fernandinho, but we'll get another year to bed in. And then, the future is his. Although the fact he is 29 is slightly concerning as well. So that's a sort of rundown of his stats of this year, but we want to hear from you guys. If you were Idrissa Gueye, what would you do? Would you join PSG? Would you join Man City? Or stay loyal to the Toffees? Vote in the poll above.
Yes.
Do it.
We finish off, as always, your favourite part of the show, isn't it? Transfer shocker, the transfer that will almost definitely never happen. And this time, we have got Juan Mata for Philippe Coutinho, swap deal. I don't know if it's actually a swap deal, but Juan Mata going to Barcelona, Philippe Coutinho going to United, and probably some money, changing hands in some way or shape or form. Seems pretty ludicrous to me, although Mata has expressed apparently an interest in going to Barcelona. Doogie,
is that surprising? I mean, is anyone ever not expressed an interest in joining Barcelona? This is I've read this year. I think there's better chance of me being named thickest hair in Britain than Juan Mata and Philippe Coutinho doing a swap deal.
Big.
Juan Mata's contract obviously runs out at Old Trafford at the end of the year, and his representatives are currently in talk over an extension. Nothing has been sorted yet. Reports from Spain coming from the likes of Sport and Mundo Deportivo say that Mata could be used as a make-weight in a deal to bring Coutinho from Barcelona. And we've actually talked about this on a few Sunday Vibes. I mean, basically, Coutinho's having a slightly difficult time adapting in his first full year. Jordi Alba and Messi have this unreal relationship on the left, and he gets criticised a lot as being a sort of third wheel on that. And his stats haven't been superb in La Liga. They've been better in the Champions League. So there's talk that he might leave at some stage. I think that's rubbish. I think Valverde would be a better place to, keep a player as versatile and as technically brilliant in his squad. So I don't see this happening at all. But McCubs, is there anything, that suggests that this could possibly happen?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, it's weird. Obviously, if United were to stump up a ridiculous amount of cash, maybe Barcelona would be interested. But I think they...
You say upwards of 120 million, maybe?
I think it would have to be, surely, if Mata's contract is due to be up. It all just seems a bit strange. I think the powers that be at Barca, I expect, probably care about the long-term future of Coutinho more than the long-term future of Valverde as a manager. Considering the kind of asset they got last January, £142 million. I mean, that's a lot of money, isn't it?
100%.
And also, Mata would just be, an older, less agile, and just not as good version of Coutinho, essentially. Coutinho can pretty much do everything Mata does and better. So yeah, it just doesn't seem great. Obviously, Coutinho hasn't had a great season. Obviously, 12 starts plus 7 sub appearances, only 4 goals and 2 assists in that time. Goal contribution every 200 minutes, which for a player of Coutinho's calibre and for a player that they did spend that much money on, obviously isn't good enough.
And a team of that class as well. Yeah.
Exactly. When you've got players like Suarez and Messi to aim for, it's not great on the assists front. But this is bullshit. This is absolutely bullshit. Coutinho not having a great time, but I can't see that lasting. I think this happens with a lot of Barca players. Ousmane Dembele was, being tipped to leave at the start of the year, and look at the kind of form he's in now.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's a no from me, and I expect it's a no from you as well.
It's a no from me. Right, guys, I hope you guys have had a good transfer deadline day.
Oh, yes.
And make sure you're coming back later.
Yes, because there is a live stream going on Football Daily. Transfer deadline night, is it?
Woo!
Transfer deadline day, whatever it is.
No Jim White, though, unfortunately.
No Jim White, but there will be Joe Cole.
Yes.
So, yeah, I won't be there, but Dougie, you will be.
I will be.
I believe Zach will be, Joe will be, Chris will be as well.
And more importantly, Joe Cole.
Of course, yeah. You know, how can we forget him once again? We didn't forget him because we said him before. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And see you next time.
Bye, guys.